issue of power rotation between the South and the North continues to be a topic of discussion ahead of the 2023 presidential election, where those who are at the forefront of the call for the Southern presidency argue that President Muhammadu Buhari would have spent 8 years in office as a Northerner in 2023, hence the presidency should go to the South. But some groups and stakeholders have disagreed with the Southern presidency, discarding the zoning arrangements, where one of such groups against the zoning of the presidency in 2023 is the Northern Elders Forum. The Northern Elders kicked against the idea of zoning the presidency, insisting that all political parties should field candidates of their choices. Well, they say the presidential position should be left open in the spirit of democracy, adding that zoning is dead on arrival. And for more perspective on the issue of zoning and the challenges before the main opposition, People's Democratic Party, in choosing the candidate for the presidential election, we're now being joined by Adamu Waziri. He is a PDP Northern chieftain. Thank you so much for being here tonight on the program. And you must agree with me that the issue of zoning seems to almost be tearing the PDP apart as it stands right now. Well, let's start with you as an elder statesman and a chieftain of the PDP. What is your take on zoning and the fact that it seemed like your party might consider jettisoning it ahead of the 2023 polls?
Thank you, Amaka. Let me correct you ab initio. The zoning issue is not tearing my party apart. There is a deliberate generation of controversy around the zoning. In the newsroom, Arise Inclusive. I am a member of the two committees set up by the party to look at zoning party offices and zoning elective, the presidency. All these ones have been done, and the results have received the acceptability of the majority members of the party. The zoning committee has submitted its report, and extra party interested groups are jumping the gun by saying the PDP has jettisoned its zoning policy. Yet the party has not made a pronouncement on zoning. It has received a report of a committee set up, and we have a decision-making process. And Nigerians should be advised to await the decision of the party. So
are you saying that there's still a chance that the PDP will not just zone, but microzone the presidency to a particular geopolitical zone of the country? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying
Let's get you to clarify that.
Yes, the constitution of our party says there should be zoning and rotation between the North and the South. Our party's constitution does not allow for microzoning. It's when it is zoned to the regions that the regions will sit among themselves and microzone. We have not reached there. And the zoning and rotation has a prior article of our constitution which says the party and its members must maintain the indissolubility and corporate existence of Nigeria. And it will achieve that through the objectives, among other objectives, of zoning and rotation. That is what our constitution says. And we are a party in opposition. Just like people say the primary responsibility of government is maintenance of protection of the lives and property of its citizens. The primary reason for a party is to contest and win power through democratic process. In that quest for attaining power, the party will decide to pick its candidates, not only president, but all elective offices. So it's only when the party picks its candidates that the other add-ons of zoning and rotation will come about. There must be a condition precedent. As of today, the PDP is not going to give its candidate just for the purpose of giving a person or a region a candidate. The PDP will look at its strengths, do a SWOT analysis of itself, and decide to say, based on the acceptability of the delegates at the convention, who will become the party's candidate. The people are propounding zoning and are talking as if you must zone so that I will contest, such a person will not contest. That is not democracy. Democracy means free and fair election. And the PDP will leave a level playing ground for people. You must be able to convince yourself you are fit for the job. You market yourself to the people that will buy your merchandise and give you the necessary support for you to win the electoral contest. I think people need to be very clear about this. The PDP is in opposition. And we want to win the presidency. We want to win many gubernatorial seats that we lost. More so because the party did not respect a zoning arrangement in 2011 and 2015. This time around, we are not fools. We will try to do what is best for our party. Unless the PDP wins the presidency, it's not only the PDP that will go extinct, even this country's existence will be threatened based on the performance of the current leadership in the country.
Well, before we even get to the race itself, we have to come back to the PDP. And let's correct an impression where you say the media is probably the one pushing the zoning agenda. We saw some leaders and members of your party speak on it. Fayose, for one, he was very vocal. He says if the PDP does not consider zoning this time around the presidential tickets to the south, that posterity will not be fair on the party. That is not the media. That is a member of your party. But let's move from there. You have actually told us about the party stance. But I asked you a direct question. You, as Adamu Waziri, what is your personal stance? Yes, zoning is enshrined in your constitution. Section 37 does talk about zoning. So what do you think your party should do? I know that NEC is the one who has the right to really decide what zone produces the presidency, but you, looking at the party and talking about that fairness and equity that you preach about, how should the PDP be handling this issue? Well,
in answering your question, let me reply Ayo Fayose. He was a member of the zoning committee. He had ample opportunity to advance his own line of thought. And the zoning committee, of which he is a member, came out with a position. And he will do well to be an honorable person and respect the conclusions of the zoning committee, which has been presented to NWC for onward transmission to NEC. That puts Fayose around. And when you talk like that, you are threatening your party. And that shows in discipline. Peter Obi, a very disciplined person. Governor Udo, a very disciplined person, says there is supremacy of the party. Once we are a member of an organization, we must internalize respect for the rules and regulations and decisions of the party. Coming to me as a person, I went to school with many Nigerians and was taught. And I contested an election, that is exam, and I came out. So I'm a product of competition. Anybody who believes he is fit enough to rule Nigeria should submit himself to the dictates of the Nigerian population. I, as a person, I'm of the opinion that the PDP at this time has no comfort to bring second 11 or third 11. The PDP should bring its first 11. And the first 11 will only be available when everybody, every member of the PDP is allowed to contest, because we are a party in opposition. That's why is your constitution actually agreeing to the issue of zoning? The constitution did not say in 2023 we must zone our party. We must zone our party office. That is not why the constitution says so. And the constitution of any country is not the country's constitution. I'm talking about the constitution of your party now. The constitution of any country, the constitution of any organization in the country must have a history. And the history in the PDP is that the PDP ruled this country for how many years? 16 years. 16 years. Yes. A part of the country ruled this country for only 2 years out of the 16 years. That's the history. People cannot use the example of the party in power that we are trying to overthrow to force our party to make a judgment or a decision. It's absolute indiscipline. We want to win the presidency. I want to see a fair ground for His Excellency Peter Obi, His Excellency Tambuwal, to slug it out on the floor of the convention. The best among them should become the presidential candidate and submit himself to other Nigerians. But I do not agree to a situation where Governor Tambuwal must be disqualified for Peter Obi to be a candidate of our party. We are not a regional party. Our forefathers were members of regional parties. The part of Nigeria is clamoring for regional or ethnic candidates who are in the forefront for the dissolution of the regionally based parties, MPC, Action Group, AG. We have seen move ahead, whereby leaders of this country will emerge from one single federal constituency. That's Nigeria. You know, we cannot retrogress and go back to Nigeria of 1954 to 1960. We should have gone ahead. I'm surprised people like Chief Ayo Adebanjo speaking in that manner. He had been fighting for that thing since 1954. He had not succeeded. He will not succeed for the remaining part of his life.
Well, no, it will be a good idea for us to actually just stick to the issues now and not call out any character. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, the same way you are.
Of course I am.
Now. So while we talk about the PDP and the fact that, you know, you're talking about equity and fairness, looking at the plethora of aspirants you have, 17 of them in all as it stands right now, I do know that there was talk about consensus, and of course sometime during the course of the week there was that, you know, report that has now been debunked that the northern elders of the party had actually approved for two particular individuals, speaking about Bukola Saraki and Bala Mohammed, and of course that has now been cleared. But let's listen to Bala Mohammed speak on the chances the PDP has of getting it right in 2023 and also the issue of consensus. There is a video and we'll come back and continue this conversation.
With regard to the consensus that you mentioned, we have talked about this in several times. We have taken it behind our back. This is something that we take away as something that we cherish so much coming from our community, not from the party. The party has a process of emergence of a candidate through the primaries, but what we did in the consensus, it is not a new one. It had been done before, and some people benefited from it, and I'm humbled that I benefited from that attestation, that sense of judgment, that appreciation from our elders. And I'm carrying it as a booster, not as a fait accompli emergence or success that it is all Uhuru.
Well, he still believes he is part of the consensus candidate that was put forward by elders of the PDP. Your reaction?
Now, let me first seize the opportunity to refer you to the pictures there. To the left-hand side of Governor Bala Mohammed is Dr. Udenta, if you know. He's a Nigerian of Igbo extraction. He's no more for the clamor of a Nigerian president of Igbo extraction. He is the Director General of Bala Mohammed's campaign committee. This is the new thinking, the new Nigerian we are looking forward, where people should build bridges. Anyway, if we come to the issue of consensus, I convened the meeting of northern political leaders that debunked the pronouncements of Northern Elders Forum, who are not members of the PDP, who had no mandate from anybody to zone the office of the presidency. We debunked it. And that has put the country back to some normalcy. Because if we allow that to continue, we will do what Chief Abiola said. Some other people, without a sharp blade, were trying to shave our heads. Professor Ango, with all respects to him, General Babangida, with all respect to him, are not no members of the PDP. No organ of the party gave them that mandate. Even me, who is a member of the zoning committee, had to submit the decision, which I was part of it, to the decision-making process of the party, so the party can take a stand. So if Bala Muhammad is propounding what the Northern Elders Forum said, we said it is injurious to him, it is injurious to the North. And they cannot make him president. Nigerians can make him president. But members of the PDP, legitimate members of the PDP, will give him the ticket for him to contest the Nigerian presidency, not the Northern Elders Forum.
Right. Well, but do you still think there's a chance that the PDP will get a consensus candidate, which some people believe that's the best chance you have going into that election against the APC? In a few seconds.
My dear Amaka, I read political science in ABU. I graduated BSc Political Science in 1976. And I've been practicing politics since 1988 in Nigeria. Consensus is a shortcut to means of getting to political power. The PDP, in its own wisdom, accepts consensus. But the laws of this country says, even if you have a consensus, you must submit yourself for affirmation. Absolutely. So I am for open contest. People should be allowed, we have about almost 4,000 delegates, who should decide who the candidate of the PDP
Let the best man win, but let everyone get a chance, is your submission tonight. Adamu Waziri, a PDP Northern chieftain, and of course, elder statesman. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on the program.
I am a PDP chieftain.
You are a chieftain.
And an elder statesman in Nigeria.
Of course. That's what I said. Elder
statesman.
You said
Northern.
No, I said PDP Northern chieftain.
Thank you very much.
Elder statesman. Absolutely. Adamu Waziri, thank you for joining me tonight on the program.